Hello everybody, hope everyone is doing well. So today I have the VSL CFX Synchron Piano. Now I've had this piano since like 2019. I was probably one of the very few first who bought it blind, and I just dived in and bought it blind. I don't even think VSL were doing any 30-day trials back then. All I know is that I bought it blind. That's what I did, and I bought the full library. And I can tell you that I did not regret it. But we'll talk about all this in the video. Now, I just want to talk a little bit about those VSL Synchron pianos. Now, there are a lot of people who love those pianos. They are fantastic. They are deeply sampled. They are very powerful. Most of them are recorded in the synchron stage, except the studio ones who are recorded in the, I think, room B or something. Like, it's a smaller room with barely any reverb. But anyway, my point is they are scripted, recorded, just the options, the depth of sampling is just top notch by VSL. And they do feel great, they do sound great and everything. But there is a little bit of, I feel there is a bit of, as time goes by and as time started passing, some people became a little bit like, split on those pianos. I believe like some sort of controversy, I think, and it's not really controversy. I mean, those pianos are great, man. But, some people really, they either love those pianos, and the other side of the audience really have some reservations about how, number one, how those pianos sound, they're a little bit too wet, that's number one. The room ambience is a little bit too much in them. The release samples are a little bit overshadowing the notes, and just like, some people really like, they have reservations regarding all this. And also, on the other hand, some people feel all of those pianos are a little bit too percussive sounding, a little bit too edgy, spiky, the way they sound, a little bit edgy and percussive, the way they sound. Also, some people complained about they feel that out of the box, the playability really has a little bit more to be desired. They feel also that the pianos just feel stiff at first. Basically, out of the box, the other side of the audience who has reservations about those pianos feels that, they need a lot of tweaking to sound and feel better. But remember, I said something here. I said out of the box. So this is where this video will help you, because we're not working out of the box here. We're going to do some tweaking, and I'm going to tell you how those pianos, at least the CFX, will sound absolutely, in my opinion, fantastic. At least the CFX will, in my opinion. So let's dive in the CFX. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about this specific piano, the CFX, compared to the other Synchron pianos. I believe this is their best Synchron piano. I believe this is VSL's best Synchron pianos. Now, there are many reasons I feel that way. First of all, I think this is the only Synchron piano that was not sampled by a robot. They didn't use that robot to sample it. It was sampled by humans. It was like a humanly sampled, like the notes and the velocity were done by humans. It was not done by a robot. VSL can correct me. I don't know if they watched the video, but I'm pretty sure this was the only Synchron piano that was not sampled by a robot. So maybe this is why it's just, for me, this piano feels alive, man. It feels powerful. It has a lot of life in it. It feels alive. The overtones, when you release those notes and you hear those overtones, it's just, everything comes alive with this piano. It just feels very velvety and 3D and alive. It's just different than the other pianos, and I tried them all. Pretty much every piano that VSL has released, I either tried it with a trial, like with a 30-day trial that they've been doing, and I own a couple two other ones, which is the VSL 280, but we're not gonna talk about that now. We're talking about the CFX. So I think this is their best. I think I'd like to call it the black sheep of the Synchron Pianos family. It's just different than the rest of the Synchron pianos. Now, let's go back to tweaking. With those pianos, you really have to tweak things to get them to sound better. The first thing I would do as soon as you launch this piano is go to your velocity and just adjust the velocity inside your keyboard or here. In my opinion, I like to adjust my touch inside my controller. In my case, it's a Roland RD. I like to adjust my touch, the touch of the velocity inside my RD, and then leave this curve at default. I do this with all the piano libraries and all the piano VSTs that I have. This is just the way I do it. I believe this is better because I think, I mean, every time I try to adjust the velocity inside the GUI of the VST, of the piano VST, it just either makes the VST sound thinner or a little bit more percussive and thinner or softer. It just doesn't work. I like to adjust the velocity inside my controller. If you have that option, I would highly recommend adjusting the velocity inside the controller and leaving this at default or like this, flat. Now, this is the first thing that I would do. So let's load, for example, the player room mix. By the way, I'm only going to be using player presets here, since these are the recommended presets by VSL for a recording sound or a player sitting on the piano sound. So I'm gonna only use player mics, the player presets. So let's load the player room mix. And I adjusted my velocity in my controller. Now let's play a little bit. So this is out of the box with the reverb on. It has everything, reverb on, the mics and everything out of the box, except of course I adjusted the velocity inside my controller. So always adjust the velocity first before you even play. I mean, well, you're gonna play to know. Anyway. Now, this sounds good. I mean, because I adjusted the velocity, but some people, when you first load the pianos and you didn't adjust the velocity, it might sound a little bit very spiky, very percussive. So adjust the velocity first. So I did that, and then I played. So that's why it sounds good, I think. But I don't know if you noticed this. Let's hear it. this, I've read this so many times online on the forums, that this is what bothers a lot of people with those pianos. But I can tell you something, the fix is so easy. All you have to do is go to the edit page. All right? So just go to the edit page and you see this RS level, that's release samples level. So you just, in the case of the CFX, I lower it to around minus 5.8, something like that. So don't go over minus 6. With other pianos, you might want to go either that or lower, maybe minus 4. Just let your ears decide, but I want you to hear the difference now. It's just perfect. So that's what you're gonna do. You're gonna go to the edit page, RS level, which is the release samples level, and lower it to around minus 5.8 for the CFX. For others, it might be different, but don't go over minus 6. All right. So that's one. So the second thing that I like to do is, I don't know if you've seen this, the MIDI sensitivity. Now you might be confused. Well, there's a MIDI sensitivity and there's also the velocity curve graph. Well, they are completely different. The velocity curve graph is for you to see if you're reaching all velocities from 0 to 127 with your keyboard. So that's what you're gonna do. So you watch that graph, which is awesome thing to do by VSL, by the way. The whole software is just totally well done. And so let's see if I'm registering all velocities with my keyboard. I'm not gonna go any louder than that because your ears will probably explode in the video. So as you can see, we're all set here. So you might be wondering then, what is this for, the MIDI sensitivity? The MIDI sensitivity is for your own personal feel on how you want the piano to react to your own playing. So this is your setting. This is more like a personal setting for you to really feel comfortable in how the piano responds to your playing. But what this also does, which I noticed, I mean, I trust my ears, and I noticed that if you go with negative values with this, it will really take out that spikiness and sharpness you're hearing from those Synchron pianos. I think the CFX right now, I think it sounds balanced. I think it sounds good, man. But I can even make it more rounded and, take out that little aggressiveness from the top by lowering the MIDI sensitivity. So in my opinion, this MIDI sensitivity it does two things at the same time, which is awesome. It does help you feel. It does help with how the piano would react to your touch. And then if you go with the lower values, it actually helps round the tone and take out that spikiness from that sound and that edge, if I said it correctly. So I'm gonna go with -5 here. And let's see how it sounds with -5. I don't know if you're gonna hear the difference, but I can. With headphones, I can. Now I'm gonna get it back to 0 to see the difference. So I'm gonna go back to -5. And let's hear it. Now, for me personally, I don't like to keep the reverb on, but I kept it on purpose just to show you that out of the box, if you do those little tweaks, it will automatically and instantly make the piano sound better. But for me personally, I just like to turn off the reverb. I just like to turn it off. Sometimes I use a third-party reverb just for the tail, you know, like I use something like Spaces. Well, Spaces are not really that good for tails. Maybe Seventh Heaven sometimes, or Pro R, I use it for tails. So, but sometimes I don't even use reverb with this, you know. So let's hear it without reverb. So what we've done so far is RS level -5.8. This is specific for the CFX. Again, I'm going to repeat that. Reverb off. And then MIDI sensitivity around -5. Now you might be wondering, well, hey, what if I have a very soft keyboard, not a hard keyboard, like something like it's not weighted, like semi-weighted keyboard. Well, I mean, I may have to go with plus with this. In my opinion, if you have a semi-weighted keyboard or a very soft and light keyboard, don't touch this here. Don't touch this. Don't touch this. Yeah, I guess don't touch this. I mean, you can go with -5 just to take out those spikes. So I would say maximum go with -5 here. -10 is a little bit pushing it. So I would say -5, -10. But do use this. It will really help out, take out those spikes at the top or those edges at the top. So RS level -5.8. Velocity curve, that's a given. You need to adjust that. I did it in my Roland. And then we adjusted the MIDI sensitivity to -5 and we turned off the reverb. And this is pretty much it, what you need to do with the VSL CFX. Now, the player room preset is really not my favorite to play. My favorite is actually the Decca 3 player. That's my absolute favorite in this library. And if you noticed, I haven't used the full mics. This is all still in the standard library. So my recommendation is if you want to buy this, you could confidently, you could be confident and buy the standard library and be fully satisfied, in my opinion, because I have the full library. I only use the standard mics, especially the Decca 3 mics. So yeah, with the standard, you're going to get the Decca 3 mics and the room mics. Okay, so I just loaded player Decca 3, and I'm going to, and this is my favorite preset. That's my favorite preset to play. And I'm going to do my adjustments as usual. So minus 5.8. Turn off the reverb. Midi sensitivity minus 5. Now, this is my favorite preset. That's what I like to play in this library. Let's hear it. All right, so yeah, this is basically all you need to do with the VSL CFX. Now another thing you can do if you want is if you feel that the bass a little bit is lacking in some areas, what you can do is just raise the volume of those octaves in here. So I already saved this. I forgot about this. I already saved this here. So this is the same preset, the same Decca preset, but with the raised volume on the octaves. I call it just right Decca Plus. It's the same what I was playing, same thing. But notice what I did here is that I raised the octave here to around all the notes on that octave to around 3.2. This was all left to 0, but then I also raised this octave here, the notes on this octave to +1, and then the last octave on top, I raised all that group to +3. Now let's see how it sounds. No, yeah, let's see how it sounds. You can tell right away that the bass is much more aggressive here when I raised it. Now, in comparison, I want to play the same Decca preset. Don't be confused by the names here. Those are just the names that I gave to that player Decca preset for me. This is the Decca preset that we were playing. It's just, this is it. So don't be confused by the name right here. So I'm gonna play the same thing, but with all flat volume on all octaves, on all the notes. Let's hear the difference. Now let's see. I'm gonna change between each one back and forth. To be honest, I like to play on both. I prefer without any notes volume modifications for me, because I feel this piano doesn't need more aggressiveness. It's already so it's a beast. I mean, you want to try to tame the thing, not make it worse in terms. I'm not saying worse as in bad. You know what I mean? I mean, We're trying to tame this thing right here, not to increase its savagery. You know what I mean? So in my opinion, I like to keep everything flat. Some people like to change. When I first started using it back in 2019, I was like every day doing editing and what should I do to improve this, and but then I figured out just leave this flat, man, because that's the way it is. Leave it be. Leave this beast just be itself. So in my opinion, this is VSL Synchron's best piano, hands down. I mean, as long as you fix your velocity, adjust your velocity, adjust RS levels like I've recommended, and then maybe tame a bit that sharpness, or you know what I'm talking about, the sharpness, the thing with the aggressive, spiky sound. Just tame it down, MIDI sensitivity -5, turn off the reverb, and that's it. This is all you need. This is a great piano in my opinion, and the proof is, I mean, it's been released in 2019 and it's still going strong for me. At some point it became my favorite, but right now, there are so many, man. I mean, there are so many piano VSTs. It's just like I don't know what to choose anymore. But that's a different subject. But in terms of Synchron pianos, I insist that for me this is the best. So again, maybe because it was not recorded with a robot. Maybe it's like that because it was not recorded with a robot. So I'm just asking myself. I don't know. I'm just brainstorming. I could be totally wrong. Or maybe it could be recorded, but I don't think it's recorded with a robot. This one is not. I don't think it is. But anyway, I hope that this video was beneficial to you. And thank you for watching. And have a great evening or morning or night. And see you soon.